Alright guys, welcome back to today's video. In today's video, we're looking at the state of the 2024 Republican primary. So we're basically looking at who's in the lead, who's behind, and who needs to do some catching up here. Now, obviously, when we're looking at these polls, you have to look at these polls by a state-by-state basis because you have to recognize that primary elections are going to occur on a state-by-state basis. Now, normally when you look at the polls, normally they will immediately go to how the nation views the election on a national basis, a national poll where they go through a lot of states. Although you have to look at this on a state by state basis. Now, on the national poll, Trump does extremely well. In fact, he is in a commanding lead right now. He's at 57.6% on the national polls, and DeSantis is only at 14%. Haley's at 5%. Ramaswamy is also at 5%. Haley, you could say she's at 6%, since if you round up. Scott is basically at 3%. So nothing has really changed as far as the national polls are concerned. Ron DeSantis has basically been at solid 13-14%. It hasn't really changed since the beginning of this month. It was at 15% for a while, and then now it's not doing very good for him either. But let's take a look at the polling as far as it relates to a state by state level. So Iowa is the first state in which the first political primary will be held. And in this state, Trump's lead just goes down a little bit. He only has a 49% lead. 49% of the electorate will vote for him within the Republican primary, whereas DeSantis only has 16%. Haley goes up to 9%. Ramaswamy does better. He goes up to 7%. Scott goes up to 7%. Pence goes down to 3%. Christie is at 2%. Burgum is at 2%, which isn't bad, I guess. Hutchinson is at 0.3%. So taking a look here, as you can see, the trend has basically been the same for a while. Nothing has really changed too much since August. But that's what you have there for the state of Iowa. Now, and you look at these individual states, it gets better for the other candidates, which explains, if you're wondering why the other candidates are still in the race, even though a majority of the candidates really should drop out at this point, since most of them are probably not going to win the primary, a lot of these candidates are hoping on winning several of these states, for some of these states in particular, and then springboarding off of them. Now, again, Bernie Sanders tried to do that in 2020. It actually ended up failing. He in fact won a couple of states, but then all of a sudden the entire DNC establishment Democrats just immediately went and endorsed Joe Biden. But taking a look here at these states here, even these states, going here to New Hampshire, Haley is in the lead here. She's at 13%. DeSantis is at 11%. Christie is at 10%. Christie's pretty high there. Ramaswamy does a little bit better. He's at 8%. Scott is a little bit worse than Iowa. He's at 5%. Burgum's at 2%, Pence is at 1.5%, Hutchinson is at 0.8%, and Hurd is at 0.3%. So it's basically been pretty consistent, especially when you look at these state polls. It's pretty much been consistent for a while, but Trump does perform a little bit worse in the state of Iowa. Moving on to state of South Carolina here, this is the state, third state that they're going to go into. Trump's lead does go down a little bit. He's at 46.7%. Haley does better. DeSantis is basically the same. Scott does a lot better. He's at 11%. And then Christie is at 5.3%. Ramaswamy is at 5%. Pence is at 3%. Pence is not polling very good at all in most of these states. So that's what you have there. You have some more polling data here at the bottom. So moving on here, and again, most of these you can easily see how basically it's trending. Now for Nevada, we don't have much polling data from the state of Nevada, since that is the fourth state which they're going to do the primary, and so it's pretty late. So they don't have much polling data from that. But even here, Trump is better in the state of Nevada as far as the polling data that is out right now. You have Trump at 52%. DeSantis is doing better, 22%. Haley's at 3%. Christie's at 3%. Pence is at 2%. Scott is at 2%. Ramaswamy is way behind at 2%. Hutchinson's at 0%. So that is the state of the GOP primary, guys. Guys, it is extremely, extremely good for Trump as far as the GOP primaries. Even after the second presidential GOP primary debate, with Trump not showing up, he still is pretty much ahead in most of the polls, on the national polls, on the Iowa state polls, New Hampshire state polls, South Carolina state polls, and Nevada state polls. That is the state of the GOP primary right now, guys. If you like this video, guys, please hit the subscribe button, comment down below, like this video, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.